show. Alright. I don't know why I'm singing that song. It's a great song.
And we're back.
Hello. Welcome to the Cube Bois. My name is Jeremy.
My name is Akeem.
And we are reviewing George M. Johnson's book, All Boys Aren't Blue, Chapter 14.
Chapter 14 called Caught in a Haze.
Woo, woo, woo. Yes, this chapter discusses a lot of George's journey joining a fraternity, a Phi Alpha Incorporated. And he just details his experience growing up in college as an all boys aren't blue person in a very blue setting.
So yeah, like I said, this particular chapter, I probably have the least amount of things I want to talk about on this. You might have more than me.
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead and start, because I got like dun 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 dun.
George talks about their just experience in college and university, some of the highs and lows. Do you have any? Oh, well, they were talking about how they were going out, they were, smoking weed and partying and drinking and just having a good time with people. Do you have any fun experiences that you recall?
The list is long. Oh, the fun I had. The good clean fun was like running for, SGA when I first got there. I remember this quote. I might have to try to find her to let her know. I know I follow her. I think she was the SGA president at the time, but I ran for SGA president. And I don't know, like hindsight 2020, looking back at it now, you always gonna have something to say to the winners and the people that did not win, okay? And I remember, I think she said this even before results came out, before people voted, whatever, blah, blah. And she was like, when this is all said and done, just remember that you should, I don't know where this quote is from. She told me the source. I don't know, so somebody out there could tell me. But this quote has stuck with me so long all my life. She just said, remember that you should be so much of a leader that you don't need a title. And that, for me, I was like, okay, I ain't gotta win. I'm fine. Didn't win. But that was a fun experience. I got to meet a lot of people. I was an RA. That became a lot of experiences. Like as an RA coming in, doing RA training every year, doing different things, actually working the job of an RA. I have loads and loads and loads of memories of just being an RA. Oh my God. I have another quick story about being an RA. One time I had I was on the phone, I was with my advisor for school, for classes, and I had a meeting with them, and I think I was supposed to be back at the dorm for something, for like a meeting or something. I forgot, but I'm like, school is more important. I'm doing stuff with school, school. And I think my boss called or somebody called. I was like, I'm gonna ignore this call, it's okay. And then my friend called. And I think she ended up calling me because we were RAs together in the same building. She ended up calling me. It's so funny because I'm thinking about it now. And she could retell this story and recount it so well because she was tickled to death. She called me probably not too long. Maybe I remember. I was like, oh, I got a meeting to go to. And I wrapped things up as my boss was calling me with my brother. I got to go. As I'm walking out, I don't know why they told her to call me, but this is jokes on them. This is what they get. But she calls me, I pick up. She's in the office with them, got me on speakerphone. And she said, hey, did you forget at the meeting? So-and-so, our boss was trying to get us. Yeah, right. Just imagine what comes out of my mouth.
I know.
Just imagine.
That is where I stopped because I'm like, I know you.
And I didn't care.
Especially when I know you don't be hearing. But especially when you're not aware that you're on speakerphone and you're just like, I'm talking to my friend.
That's another thing. But that helped me.
Lord knows you're a professional person, but it's like.
But that also helped me stand 10 toes down in what I said because it's like, blah, blah, blah.
I'm in it.
Right. I mean, it's like, I'm already here. I'm here now. But she was like, yeah, so-and-so, they told me to call you, blah, blah. You're supposed to be here, blah, blah. And I said, they can wait. I was busy. I don't know if I said I was busy talking to my advisor. I just know, I was like, they'll wait. They can wait. I'm fine. They'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And she started laughing because she knew she had me on speakerphone. She was like, I heard you on speaker. Blah, blah. I said, well,
I mean, at this point
they done heard
it.
It ain't no, okay. You can't rewind. You heard me.
Hello.
I'm on my way. Let's go. What it is, like, what are we doing here? So those were fun. As far as like me drinking and having a good time, there were so many moments. I mean, I remember this one time because I was an RA. Again, another quick side story. This person could corroborate this. They'll tell you if they find this video. I got so drunk at a party that I think this particular, and this has happened more than once. Oh. This is why I say who I am today is not who I was then.
Okay.
And that's why I said when I say the Lord be playing these tricks and jokes, because when I went to, this is how drunk I got. I had to be taken out by the ambulance, which is why my life now is a joke. I'm pursuing EMT, but like I said, it's funny because when I say the Lord be playing games, when I got to grad school, what did I do research on? Alcohol metabolism. I already knew that. I already know how the body works. Huh?
You said I have first-hand experience.
I said, give me the PhD. What am I here for?
I'm the test subject.
Okay.
I did it already.
What am I did this already.
All I needed was a camera so that y'all could document.
What am I here for?
I wouldn't have to write.
What are we doing? I already know all this. Anyway, but yeah, he said, because I went to the hospital that night, like they say, like our girls say I got church in the morning. I had work the next day. I got out of the hospital. I might have been knocked out at the front desk, but baby, I was there. Like,
said, I was.
You checking in? Yeah.
What do you say? Cheeks and seats.
Cheeks and seats. I was talking about. I was right there at that counter like this, like, oh my God. He was like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, "I could have sworn you were dead." Like, he said, "You're the reason why I made a decision last night. I'm not drinking no more." I'm like, "Well, I'm glad I could change your life."
Okay.
God be using you and don't even know it, huh? I believe that. Let's talk about it on what? This day. Uh-huh.
And we thank him.
And we thank him. So I have so many stories. So yeah. What about you?
Well,
tell me about them. Well, tell me about some of them or whatever you want to share.
I was not a big person to be out in the streets because that's not me. However, I enjoyed a lot of my time because the city that housed my university was great for such.
Come on, Chocolate City.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, sure. A lot of chocolate.
Not the memories just started coming in. They started flying in.
It was a great time.
Woo!
Anyways, but I explored the city a lot. That's when I really got into walking. I used to just walk. And I would walk alone. All up and down, whether I was at Howard and A&T. I did the majority of the walking at A&T. I used to walk. I used to walk downtown. I used to walk everywhere. And people be like, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm just walking, chatting on the phone with my friend. And it's like, yeah, I would go to the museums. I would go to the parks. I would go hang out with friends. I would go visit people. That was a lot of the experience I had because I looked and gave off such a mature appearance. I was oftentimes the people I hung out with would be like, oh, you can go to the liquor store. They ain't gonna card you. And they didn't. So yeah, I always had to embrace being a cracked black. But don't give me that. Don't give me that because it's been the case. Even before I even got, this is a side note, before I even got to really get into high school good, people were asking me, was I a senior? I said, I just got here. What do you mean, am I a senior?
Third day here. I just got here.
They were like, yeah, we thought you were a senior. We thought you were.
Now, I will tell you, I have had facial hair for a very long time. I had more facial hair than some seniors when I got to high school.
I mean, me too. But I didn't have it like it's, because you had it.
Let's talk about
deep. I had like a mustache and real bad, like mutton chops. And I look back at some of my college photos and I said, they had me out here looking like somebody's great uncle. I had me looking out here, but also the people I hung out with. I said, y'all didn't look out for me. Why did y'all have me looking like everybody's designated driver and chaperone? My God, I look so old. But, I had good times. The other part of that was, did you experience any like anxiousness, depressive moments in school where it was just like, wow, I'm feeling down. I'm feeling down.
This
bad.
like goes good into my question.
Okay. We
Anxious depression. So it was definitely when I did start having fun, and it was definitely when people started graduating, and I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, I came in with you. I'm at your graduation. Congratulations. I was a super senior of the super seniors, and yeah, that started to weigh in heavy on me.
The pressure.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
that was that. I think that was like the most depression I probably had.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I just started to realize, and I wasn't thinking about money. I was just like, I came here for this, and then I'm not doing, like, I'm passing classes.
I just didn't reach the goal.
Not
yet.
all of them and enough
to run past the finish line.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on, Jack? Gotta get this together. So yeah.
As someone that hasn't graduated and has seen many people that were my peers, colleagues, go past, I definitely held on that shame for many years, during and after. Now my first bout of like depression when I was in school was this freshman year. It was so overwhelming to me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know.
Well, why?
I didn't know what to do.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what was the depression about? Do you remember?
I didn't know of my ignorance. I'm here in this place where I have never really had to like try to be adequate or like, again, I knew just to go to class. I can do the work. I didn't have to study.
Yeah.
I could skirt by.
That's real.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you there because, well,
and I didn't never have to learn. My mom it was more of like a threat. Don't bring home no C's, D's.
Yeah.
Well, C's are already cutting it. You bet not bring no D's or F's up in here. That's not even, we'll never talk about that. But so I was always good at like doing enough to get by. You can't do enough to get by in college. And I didn't learn any type of
challenge. It stretches you.
I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know where to ask for help. I was intimidated. I was overwhelmed. It was so many different things happening at once. And
how was your freshman seminar?
It was like everybody else's. You sit down, they go through whatever information, and they say, well, look to your right. And I think about that. I used to think about that often because I was like, I was that person that they said that was not going to be here.
My God.
Because it was shameful. I felt shameful. I felt guilty, especially being the oldest child. Everyone's always like, oh, well, you got to set the example and what? You got to blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm still just trying to get me together, put my puzzle pieces together, and I'm trying to fulfill your expectations and your perceptions of me. It was just so heavy. For me, I'm not saying it's heavy for everybody. Some people did that and they be like, that phases me not. I'm going to still.
That look to the left, look to the right was, I don't know what that's called. That wasn't no freshman seminar. That was like our maybe convocation, like intro to college or whatever. But it wasn't a class. We actually did stuff.
Well, that may be what it was. But for the freshman seminar, I don't recall.
I mean, I'm asking because I feel as if the reason why I ask that because I do feel like, I mean, most of them give you history. Like, ours gave us history, but at the same time, it was also like, these are some skills that y'all need to know. I ended up working with.
Oh yeah, I just didn't know how to use them. I was like, I hear you,
Oh.
but I can't translate that into action because I don't know how to. Because it's just me.
It's interesting because I really feel as if, I'm not gonna say shame, but it was almost as if like, I mean, they wanted you to be ashamed if you did ask for help. Because it was like, I'm here to help you. I'm going to be upset with you if you don't. Her name was Miss Turner. I think her name was Miss Lolita Turner. That was my first student teacher. Because I ended up going to go work with her. But she was like, I'm going to be upset if you don't ask me for help. There's no reason you need to be on this campus. We have everything you need. Do not ask for help.
Also going to a place that has such high expectations and quality. Where it's just like everyone here, I felt like a fish out of water at Howard, to be fair. Because there was so many high achievers.
What's the word can I say? It was almost like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, a lot of that was. Because it's like, I'm around so many people that were just like, oh, I did all this, and I'm from Chicago, and I'm from Philly, and I'm from New York, and we did this, that, and the third, and I was the president of blah, 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 and I got out here with a 4.999 GPA, and blah.
Let me tell you something about the church I used to go to.
And I mean, y'all out here looking like grown business adults. And I'm
Let me tell you about.
I feel so small.
This was the first time I heard this, and I think he went to Norfolk State, and he said, and they say this a lot. A lot of people say that I've learned this after, but he talks about he didn't graduate magna cum laude, summa cum laude.
Okay.
He graduated. Thank you, laude.
I've heard that.
Okay, not even laude. Thank you, laude.
I've heard that.
And that again, I think
and
that
I've heard
he was very involved
later.
in our school as well. So I think for me, and I don't know. I mean, I get it. I think when I got there, it was a new experience, but it was so much for me. It was so much of like a community of yes, we want you to flourish and succeed, but I guess the expectations were not there because I've already did more than my father. My mom, at the time, she was still going back and forth to college, and she's just like, I'm gonna get what I need. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, I'm in my mind already. I'm like, oh, I made it, until I didn't really make it.
I mean, again, my grandparents, my mom's parents, both went to college. However, them passing down that information even to their kids, like my mom, she kind of went to college, but I was right there. It was like you didn't even get a toe in there before I got there. And so a lot of that information was just like, you just know to go. And because I gave that, like, I'm always like, be okay type thing, which I clearly am because I'm not dead. But it's like, oh, you got this too. And it's like, I needed more support, but not knowing how to ask because of so many different types of, issues. But yeah, that was it.
Yeah, like I said, I know with us, that was the sense that I got. It was just like, it's too much. A gospel song is coming to mind, but that's just what I got. It was just like, it's too, it was almost like you had to work hard as hell to fail. Like, and not just, I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you didn't come to class. That's under like, you didn't come to class, you didn't turn anything. Cause the thing was, it was just like the bare minimum. If you got your butt into the seat and you are alert and oriented, it was like.
And I got really depressed over a guy.
Okay, so yeah, you had other things going on.
Yeah, I was like, I'm saying that these are good excuses, but it's life
in a way that, again, now I will say, I don't know
why. And these things happen to people anyways, which is what was even harder for me, because I'm like, this happens to everybody. Yeah. Why can't I handle this?
For me, and then, we also had, like, great counseling services on like campus.
Didn't know to get it.
Oh no! I mean, well, you know what? I think I did talk to Miss Turner about.
Or didn't feel comfortable with asking.
Oh no! Again, I think it was just shouts out to ECSU because at that point in time.
Now A&T, it was different. When I got there, I was like, I've never felt so like this is wow, y'all were taking care of me.
Yeah.
We were I was traveling the country, and I'm like, I'm in these organizations. I was like, oh, maybe it was the setting. Maybe it was just so much going on there. I could not just focus on, like, I had no choice.
That's another thing I was going to say, okay?
To
and then that's why I said that's why I'm talking about this whole South thing. But if you haven't watched, watch the last video from the last chapter. But anyway, yes. That's what I was going to say. Everything was the campus, and the campus was everything. It was it. In Elizabeth City, especially. I mean, at least Greensboro had something going on.
I was about to say, Elizabeth City.
Greensboro got something going on.
Y'all got nccu and maybe a 30-minute drive to the beach.
Okay.
That ain't nobody going to.
I was
about to say, because you got to have a car.
And they ain't have a car when I got there. So anyway, yeah, I was just going to say, going along those lines about the depression, I said, I put depression and then I put / becoming who we want to be. I love how we think we know someone and their reactions and we don't. And it made me think about the conversation that George had with his mom. She didn't let George quit. So was there ever a time, this is random, like, was there ever a time like you thought you knew what someone was going to say about any type of situation? I guess, I mean, in particular, I guess this, but like, it just didn't turn out the way that you thought. But it was helpful. It was good. Because, like, she just...
Plenty of moments.
I think I like those the most.
They're
which is
not
crazy.
Always positive, though.
Oh.
I'm thinking about both.
Yeah.
But I've had some good ones. I can't really pinpoint one right off the top of my head at this moment. Maybe recently with, like, my mom, my grandmother, when we talked about... This is outside of the context of school, but we were talking about politics and just the history of this country with religion and being Black in this country and how we carry ourselves with faith and etc. And it was like, oh, that is pretty progressive of you.
It's funny because, like, I came out, my grandmother sent me into the store today to get something, and I came out, she gave me money and everything. I was like, and this is, it don't matter where it was, but it was like, I went to the store, she gave me money. I came out without what she asked for. I said, they don't serve niggas in there. And she just busted out laughing. She said, if you don't give me my money. She was just tickled. I said, they didn't have that.
That was good. That was good.
But yeah, I was gonna say, as far as like reactions, this is one that as you were talking, it unlocked the memory in my head. Speaking of that popular church, and I think this is one reason why they were so popular, especially with the students, among the students. This was like years, if you could think back how far this was. This was years ago during, I think it was House Bill 2, when they were talking about the bathrooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I go to church a lot, okay? I've been going to church all my life. Hallelujah. Church got me through the school. I was about to say the Great Depression of school. Okay, amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But he said the population of the students that were going were like everybody, but you could kind of tell like who the gay students was and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But he stood up in church one day, and this was during all this time, and he said, you know, a lot of people are going to go to hell behind homosexuality. Oh, the Christians were clapping and standing up.
You said, y'all didn't let me finish. Y'all didn't let me finish.
He said, I'm not talking about the people that say they are gay or a part of, you know, that community. He was like, I'm talking about y'all that say y'all supposed to be Christians and love you. The students, gay and straight, erupted. Because I'm just like, first of all, you better know your audience. Know your audience, Pastor. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm just like, because again, we're going to have an episode on the podcast, get into it, sweet heat, about this. But like, when you get into it, it's just like the core, the root of it all, of what the church is supposed to be, especially for us in a community. What does that have to do? Like, what is who I'm loving and what I'm doing have to do with you and everything else, and you trying to control me and all this other stuff.
That right there, that's all it is.
I mean, I see them, but I'm just saying when it comes down to godliness and loving thy neighbor. But anyway, that was a moment, I will say, that really gags me like, oh, you ain't say what I thought you was gonna say. But yeah, that was it. I mean, there's other stuff that I could think of, but that was a moment I was like, I mean, because when he started, I'm like, oh, clench his pearls. I'm just sitting, as soon as he said it, they're going, like, dang, I gotta find someone else to go to church. But then he finished. I said, oh, Pastor, let me add a little bit more to this offering today. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just piggyback off of that, because of all that pressure, I would burn out every so often, trying to keep up with the expectation that I fabricated in my mind that I had to keep up with.
Was this all during freshman year?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
This is just my college career in general.
Oh, okay.
I just burned out, taking on too many classes at once.
Ooh.
There was one semester where I did 3 math classes and 3 science classes. I was like, I'm just knock it out. I can do it.
Who was your advisor?
I don't know. What did I tell you? I did not.
Did you go see your advisor?
No, I didn't talk to anybody. We would like email here and there, and I'd be like, I don't know what's going on. But they didn't say anything. It wasn't like what are you doing? Come to my office. Let me talk to you.
So, again, I'm just saying stark differences.
Now,
I don't know if things have changed.
College thing, I was more in communication with my advisor.
Yeah.
But that was more of a financial thing than I don't know what I'm doing thing. I was like,
I don't necessarily know if things have changed, but I know with ours, and I guess it was like encouraged. I know when I was there, let me just say that. Oh, we took time to sit across from each other. I'm talking about she at least, I need to check in with her. I love her dearly. I don't want to say her name, but GD, you know who you are, girl. She taught me a lot. Like, and she's AK. Oh, beautiful lady. Beautiful gowns. A very beautiful woman. But we would sit, when I say community, I feel like I can see her to this day. She had my bag.
I don't know what neither of my advisors look like.
Oh, and then she was my advisor for the chemistry degree.
And I'm not necessarily blaming these people.
Right. The biology degree advisor was another person. So they had to that's why I said they were like my parents, because it was like, we have to work on his schedule. So he's taking biology courses and chemistry courses, and they're going to marry together for him to go forward.
Because they got we got to talk.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot.
Okay.
So how are we
this
going to
child of
organize
ours, baby. So I love them people to this day, and I don't want to say his name either, because he's a very hardworking man, but he has done the things, everything. And I don't know if I told you about him. I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, I mean, it was to the point where like I feel like they had to unlock something on the thing, so you had to go through pre-advisement to go talk to them face to face, let you know, send you off with a plan. This is what you're going to take. This is what makes it. Because I had moments where
it's already set up online. Just kind of.
Oh no. There were moments where I thought like, I can take that and that. And they were like, I don't think you're going to need it. I don't think you can handle that. Like, if you want a social life and live, no. Now, my freshman year, like I said, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was asking when this happened. My freshman year, I lived in the library. Where's Akeem?
I mean, I would go.
I had a specialized
to
cubby. Do you hear me? I was getting upset when people was in my space. I said,
oh, wow. Well, yeah, you was settled in there.
This was me. This was my.
That was your.
I had a schedule. Yeah, I had a schedule because I couldn't be an RA my freshman year. I had a schedule, and then also my freshman year. Oh, that's a whole nother story. I was about to say, school was so packed out. Like, oh god.
I mean, they had no choice. Where else they gonna go in Elizabeth City?
No, I'm saying like the enrollment. That was the highest enrollment was when I came in my freshman year.
Okay.
I almost didn't get in. Let's talk about that.
Oh,
if it was not for, I wrote a essay, got a scholarship. It came in the mail in the form of a check to Elizabeth City for me, like all that. I brought that with me with all my stuff. They were like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna have to stay in the off-campus hotel. There's a shuttle." My mom was like, "No. My son needs to be on." Thankfully, okay.
Your mama, she
was like, "No, my son needs to be on campus because he ain't got no car." Why is he? No, I just know my child. My son
your mother said
needs to be on this campus.
She loves her kids and never. A single mom works.
She made sure I was on campus, but then they were like, "Well, the freshman boy dorm is full," and they were like, "We don't know if we have housing." I pulled that check out and slid it across. He took it. I think his name was Dr. Deese. God rest his soul. He said, "Oh, we're gonna find him."
I know that's right.
I wasn't in the freshman boy dorm, and that also made what propelled me because I had an upperclassman for a roommate.
Yeah.
Which he has some Greek stories that we could talk about offline, but at another time. But
yeah, because my roommate at Howard also crossed.
Oh no, this man was already.
I know.
But yeah. But because of watching him in my freshman year, I was just like, oh, okay. These are the things I need to do as far as good behavior to stay on track. Yeah. So, what was your question? Did I answer it?
That was yours.
I didn't. I thought you answered the question.
No, I was just saying I experienced burnout because I was doing too much.
Oh, sorry. I think I jumped in there. I'm sorry.
It's
burnout.
This is our channel.
I think I was just depressed at times, especially during the.
I'm saying,
of
course, I experienced burnout because I know what I was doing. I know what to talk to. I know all those things. Again, not saying. Because these universities are still great. I still respect them a lot. I just, if there's better information for people like me, students like me, so that they can get to where they're getting to, that would be helpful. So I'm going to be a voice for those people, even if it's just me. So what you got?
I think I did. Well, I asked about the vices in the last video, but the vices were brought up here when George was talking about smoking. Did you have any vices in school? I think he already said it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really smoke.
Brown.
I was out in the streets.
Oh, yeah. Mine was alcohol. And that was it. I mean, took me out. Okay? When I say took me out, take me out to the ball game.
To the hospital.
Yeah. So,
to the ambulance.
it was before high school. Before college, I had one experience where I drank and I blacked out. Horrible. Oh my God.
Really?
And then going into college, because I had a roommate that was upperclassman, and he was legal, he could get alcohol, so it wasn't a problem. And also, it was like, as long as you had that was a plug for me. Like, the connects, it was like, as long as you knew somebody that was at least 21, you get your money to, the trust is going to, I mean, you want it on your time, but it was like, they already, you know what I mean? Like, they going whenever they going, but you got to know they going. So it's like, hey, bro, I heard you going to the ABC store. Can you get me blah, blah? Oh, they checked in Liz. They ain't matter how old you look. They had the people at the door. They had the popo at the door. Because we were right down the street from the ABC store. The college was right down the street.
None of the universities I was at did they do that.
Oh, no. But the university was right down the street from the ABC store was right down the street from the university. So it was like, I guess they expected it. Child. Either way, when I first went there, I was a regular customer. And I didn't got to the point where the people at the place knew me. Okay. But what was I to say? Alcohol was my vice. Especially like once I could get my own. That's how I grown a love for vodka.
Yeah, I like the clear stuff myself.
Yeah, that brown make you frown, and I ain't really like that, but that's vodka.
Vodka's very, for me, neutral. Tequila is kind of bite to it.
It does, and I don't like it.
It's strong. It's going to overpower you.
I don't like it. That vodka, for me, I feel like you could dress it any way you want it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I love that vodka.
Now, I had like one experience, which was Hell Week for band when I first went to college, where I got drunk, and it was rough because it was hell for me. I never experienced that level of demand from my body physically, mentally, emotionally, and it was just a lot. And that'll be a story for another time too. Just my band experience, because I was in band for 7 years before then, and I said after this, I have not picked up an instrument since. Not like for a production or anything like that. I have guitars and xylophone, stuff like that, but I'm not playing. It was
because they wasn't playing.
Now, was it fun? Absolutely. But
after this,
the yin and yang, I'm like, I was used to a little small little white band where we just, not blacks. Not the blacks. And I was so excited. I was like, because we would, of course, compete against the black schools who would come play football. And I'd be like, look at them over there having so much fun. Look at them playing like good music and they got rhythm and stuff like that. And I'm like, I want that experience. And it was like, here we go. I'm going to join the marching band at Howard. They gave me a scholarship too. So I had a few scholarships. I was like, oh yeah. I got my tail over there to play the bass drum. Number 4. I had this is not for me. So, since we were talking about it or brought it up earlier, George is a member of Alpha Alpha, a D9 organization. What was your experience with the Divine Nine?
Oh,
your college experience.
I guess that could go hand in hand.
Because
my question was first member of Black Greek Letter Organization.
Yeah.
But in college, you said, what was my experience?
Yeah, because one, Howard houses at least 4 or 5 of the Divine Nines, like home base.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like Deltas, the AKAs. It's a few of them. I can't remember them all. The Omegas, the Zetas, maybe not Zetas, maybe the Zetas. I don't forget, but they got a few of them. And when I was in college, it was like the Delta Centennial. It was so much red and crimson and green and that daggone. I mean, old and young. It's like, but continue. What was your experience like?
So.
Oh, and how do you feel about the whole
thing? My experience, I appreciate seeing them. They have great work to do. And my whole experience about them or seeing them.
Whatever you want to share regarding the Divine Nine.
They are an interesting bunch. I'd rather reserve my true feelings for off air. But I have like a lot of great friends who are a part of organizations. Again, I think the purpose for the organization is very important. As George mentioned this in the book, which is fair to share, I would just say I think once we get to a point, because I also don't want to like talk about other people's experience. I know, and we can talk, but I don't want to share here. But I think once we as a people, as a culture, get to a point, and I wouldn't say, you don't have to quote unquote push numbers, because, if you as an organization or group of people feel if members or people are not qualified to be in your organization, hey, that's you. But at the same time, there is strength in numbers, and I feel like there's probably more people that could serve some of these organizations better than the ones that are already members. So I would just say, they do great work. There's a lot of work to be done, and I just hope they continue doing their work. I appreciate watching them. I know they work hard. I have been involved with some of these people, people and organizations, and that's what I'm gonna say. My advisors, they were both in the orgs, okay? Like I said, she was a pretty and pink lady. And he was...
my mom is, my aunt is, my uncle is, my stepdad is, my grandfather was, my other uncle is, few cousins are. I mean, they are everywhere.
And
And they was definitely like,
my male advisor was one of them dogs.
yeah.
Can I pet that dog? Yeah, in my family, I don't think there is like any type of legacy. So I more so did my own research, due diligence, and I decided on that. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Oh, probate, same thing. I was enamored when I first saw him, as George described. Just trying to see and understand, and just be like, oh, what is this? Again, beautiful production. Not knowing fully what I was witnessing, because it was like, oh, there's a probate tonight. We gotta go. And again, going and being like, oh, this is nice. I would love to join one day. So yeah, I think that is, like I said, I think beautiful cows.
Yeah.
Hard work.
So it is Theta Phi Beta, Phi Beta Sigma, Delta Sigma Theta, Omega, the Omegas, and the AKAs. It was 5. Now for me, I had a roommate that crossed, and it was interesting because the marching band, like black marching bands, they are also extremely serious. So within the band, there's a process to cross your section. So it's like the baritones, you gotta cross. I mean, you don't have to, but there's an option to cross. For the trumpets, option to cross. So I experienced some of my band members crossing their sections. And also joining Greek organizations and going through that experience, which was interesting to say the least. Because as George mentioned, they also went through certain experiences. It wasn't anything, I'll just say they went through certain experiences. And I just was always very much against certain experiences because when I think about learning,
I'm so churchy every time I hear certain things, because when I think of the goodness of Jesus,
when I think of the goodness and all,
and all,
and I'm like, I feel like there are better ways to teach someone than these archaic ways that we've learned from another group of people to get people in line and get people in order. That's just what I personally believe.
Okay.
And I just could never get behind certain tactics for discipline.
Especially if you think about, quote unquote, the purpose. And again, I guess I'm not too far deep into what I should or I may not know. So I'll say that. But when we think about like the purpose of the end goal of what we're trying to do, is it necessary?
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whether, I mean, I don't feel like it's necessary for anybody to be fair, but that could be an off-camera conversation. Subscribe to the Patreon once we get that set up. We can go through a Q&A or something like that, maybe. But yeah, one of the things that I want to bring up that George mentioned was, not that they mentioned, but maybe like an idea, but getting, especially for boys that are all blue, getting into an organization to mask what may not be fully masculine in a very dominantly masculine organization, if that makes sense.
I agree. Can I also add, and this is maybe Patreon material or not, I don't know. I just want to add to the conversation of, I think it's also interesting that, have you ever heard about the Miyakas and all these other, so it's like, I used to, because at one point I'm like, is that where I belong? Because it's so interesting where, you know, you have all the boys that aren't blue, that are interested in subscribing to said organizations. You have these options, and it's like, okay, let me pick one. And then you're denied and you're like, no, you don't fit here, you don't fit here. Which I have seen some people go from meeting to meeting. Bless their heart, bless their soul. They landed where they may, but it's like, why ridicule those people? Or whenever they find their organization or their community in doing something, it's like, that's also a problem. Like, oh, you could have just joined this. It's like, no, they couldn't. Because y'all were gatekeeping to the point where it was just like, oh, you not fit for this, but you also shouldn't do this. It's like, take it or leave it. You're going to either allow this or not going to allow this, which, who gives a fuck? But it's like...
people do.
I mean, I know people give a fuck, but I'm just like, as a part of the person that is interested, it's like...
As a part of what you say your organization represents, that is the problem.
That's where the problem lies.
One, what I wrote down, because I have a few notes about that.
That's why I said I had like 2 or 3 points, and we mainly...
I'm talking about things.
Go ahead.
So it's like, one, masculinity is not a monolith, and how other people may present their masculinity should not offend you if they are still upholding the values, the core values of what your organization says it chooses to express. Then I put, for a lot of people that are having challenges with their identity, sometimes it does seem appealing or it seems ideal to be attached to this ideal sense of masculinity by joining this type of organization, maybe to mask something, or it's because, one, just because people, all boys aren't blue, doesn't mean we don't also want a sense of brotherhood or sisterhood or just community with other people that share the same values that we do. Whether I'm leaning here or leaning there, it's that should not, it shouldn't have to apply.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think for me, what I also think about when you were saying those words, it's like, there's nothing wrong, quote unquote, let's say there's nothing wrong with the mission, right? Or whatever. Like, it's funny because, again, in this particular organization, George talked about like manly deeds and knowing all the pillars and stuff like that. But for me, I think a lot of times, and that can be questionable because, again, define that. And not saying George, not saying us,
I know what you mean.
Just people like define that. What is manly deeds? My thing, I like to simplify.
Has some definitions of it, but why?
Right. But for me, I think just to simplify or to oversimplify, if you will, and I think this could be for every organization, whether it's fraternity, sorority, whatever, I'm going to simply say, do no harm. And when I say that, I'm saying, because when we all, not we, but a lot of people, when they think of like, what do they say? The LGBT community, it's always like, oh, we think you're going to molest these people or do this, or you're out here being sexual deviants and being also disgusting to society. It's a projection. But then look at the people that are being charged and getting all these charges and stuff. Most of them,
once again, it's a projection.
Exactly. We know that. So it's just like, y'all pressed about this, but then the same ones as quote unquote pastors, they're the ones that have these molestation charges or some type of offense against them. And it's like, we're the problem.
Even internally.
Right.
Even with some of the practices that people do to even make it into the organization, some of the things they have to go through are highly questionable in terms of, one, how do you uphold your organization's standards with some of these decisions, and how are you also shaming a group of people while also relishing in this humiliation or in this abuse for the sake of breaking someone's spirit down to understand, again, the ideals of the organization.
Right. And so when I also say like progress the mission, I'm saying the simple mission of what was that.
Now all of them do that. I'm just saying.
Right. But when I think about like what the mission was initially, when the history is done about why did these 7 men, because George mentioned that he was the jewel and the 71 of his organization. When these 7 individuals found themselves band together at Cornell University, what was the reason? What was the reason? What was the purpose of them even coming together? So we focus on just, and again, not saying some of the other stuff of how it has grown and how it has evolved. Like that show I just watched, I think that's beautiful. Like their mission is, and they mention it throughout the show, is like, she keeps saying, I want to, it's a Black couple. They shout out to them. I just watched, just love seeing us and love the support. But it's just like, she was like, I want to build generational wealth for my 2. While I'm doing that, I also want to build, that's loud as hell. Where are you going? I want to build my community up. And it's just like, those are simple things. Those are simple missions. And it's just like, again, when we get to the root of it, and I think we had that conversation before, probably due to this book, we're talking about the talented 10th. And it's like, not saying that that's a myth or it can't happen, but it's like, why can't we all progress and work our talents?
I know, we know why.
We know why, and this one
colonialism
right,
do its thing.
The one good answer, but it's like
every time we see every system being broken down into the same manner, whether it is our fraternities and sororities, or whether it's our religion, or whether it's our education system, or whether it's our politics, it's always that, well, haves and haves not, and power back and forth. It's like, what happened to just community and inclusion? What? Oh, now it's not about, oh, we were excluded, now we want to be a beacon for those that have been shunned away by other systems. Now it's like, well, now we are just so much better and we have so much power, we can do whatever we want to, and you got to prove yourself because I have a position of authority now. Womp.
I mean, and I agree. I just think at some point we either have to decide, are we going to realize that? Because, I mean, people talk about this all the time, and I mean, not people. This is a church saying or a church ideal, and I depending on how you feel about it, I agree with it. But it's just like, everybody's always talking about long suffering and all that, like, but it's like, I do want to go to heaven, but I also want some heaven on earth. So it's like, from what I can build in the parameters of what I can, I just have to continue to attempt to build community with like-minded people. And whether my heart has ever wanted to be, because now, I'll just say, like, my mindset around it is like, at some point, my attempts to join whatever organization, one day they may see my value and be like, we're just going to accept you as an honorary member. Great. Because I can't do it traditional way no more. I ain't going to sound too old, but I'm over it at this point. My thing is, but the overall goal and mission of like what I want out of this life, and it's not just the fact of like, I mean, I don't have children yet, whenever I have them, whatever, but it's like, outside of the type of children I want my sister to help build and like that legacy that I can leave within them, it's like, I want them to also go out and be this beacon and be this thing to like light up the world. I'm not gonna say always, I would hope, but I wouldn't be a long shot by saying there's always gonna be evil people. Fuck it. It's gonna be somebody out there that's evil, that have their underlying mission, but at the same time, it's just like, I myself want to do this for us. And if I could get enough of us to say the same thing, then us could be this community. And not saying we have to be excluding anyone, but I know where the mission lies. And that's why I say, when I say the progressive mission, is like, that's why I said, what was the root of why these people came together? And then why were they in school in the first place? You know what I mean? Why did they go to school? What was the root of that? And then what did they do when they graduated? And I mean, if you look at the history of all these people, not just from that organization, a lot of organizations and what they did, it's just like, it's phenomenal. But then we lose sight of, like you said, people get power and it changes things. And it's like,
And it's
Maybe you
super
forgot.
interesting because it's like, not only do people get power, you get people that maybe didn't have any power before they got into this university setting, and now they're adults that have power over people. Or maybe that they went through experiences where they didn't have it, now they have it, and it's like, wow.
I guess that was the thing that I was... Well, one of the things I was going to say that I didn't say, but I guess we can talk about it now that we're there. I think that's a major issue. Anybody that's watching this, y'all could let me know how y'all feel
in the comments.
But I feel like one of the major issues that may be plaguing these organizations, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, I don't care what organization, it doesn't necessarily have to be Divine Nine. We're talking about Divine Nine right now. But one of the major issues is you have young adults who may not be fully mentally there, making these long-term decisions for other people that, like you said, they find themselves with power now. Overcome with power, like they're not power hungry, but they're just like
it's corruptible.
It is. There's another word.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But they're just like overcome with so much power. It's just like, I can do this, and it's like, so. Do you understand what you're trying to build here?
But to be fair, I don't know the process. I don't know if it's a bunch of
from what I know,
elders that also help
review. Right, that's what I'm saying. But from what I know and what I've heard and what I've learned,
I'm saying I don't know much.
Oh, but this is a whole lot of other things. The process that I know of is just like sometimes, and that's another thing, disclosure, because somebody should come in the comments and set the record straight. But it's just like, there's a lot of people who value the wrong things in other people. Because it's like, oh, well, this person looks like they're going to be a good member.
Yeah.
Or they XYZ in a few years. Let's just leave this alone, because I was about to say something else. Because me and another one of my friends that you know of, we just had a conversation similar to this about some occurrences in the BGLO space. So we could talk about, let me put that in a note under here, and we can talk about that later. Yeah. And yeah. Next question.
It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn.
I only have one more other point. But once again, these thoughts are strictly our own.
I think I talked about it before in the last chapter. Yeah, these thoughts are our own, so it is what it is. And we're not in work, so hey, this is just from a simply observation standpoint.
Yep.
I think I asked it before, but I think in this chapter, George may have reiterated or brought it up again.
And not to one in organization. That's
why I said a lot of them, not all. But George talked about Lawrence, who was a part of the organization already, and said that Lawrence was one of the few friends who weren't interested in finding the answer, right? To that question, are you gay? And it led me to think, why do people want to know, and why must we declare it? So I think we answered it in the last episode. But so check out the last episode.
But just to recap, it's just that, because this is something that marks you down or is like a negative thing that we view in society, that means that, this is something I can, this is not everybody, but it's just like, it's something that I can then hold and label you as.
Right.
To either use over you for power reasons, or just to devalue you as a whole, your character. I explained it better in the last video, but it's something along those lines of like, okay, I can, because I don't necessarily identify with that, or I can mask it well, or whatever. It's more visible with you, so you're at the mercy, almost seemingly. You're not, but seemingly, of our approval. So, yeah.
Any other question?
Well, have you, called. But have you looked at the movie Burning Sands?
Is that? Can you tell me who was in it? Nah. Yeah.
Let's just
Because what was the
that
lady
thing.
name?
Oh,
Who
Alfred
was
Woodard.
the dean?
She was in there.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
That was an interesting movie. It was a bit hard to watch at times. But I'm like, I think it represents the overall concept of the situation that is.
I think it did an amazing depiction. Again, based on the things that I've heard.
And this is based on a story of someone that lost their lives going through a hazing incident with one of the Divine Nine organizations back in 1989.
That's what that was about? The movie?
It was based off of it.
Oh. I was about to say,
I'm not saying it was like...
I was going to say, as George mentioned in the book, every year there is someone.
Mm-hmm. But that was like the first one that like really sparked out like all the policy changes with law. Where it's like, oh my God. Because you know what black people do with this.
But, so that for me, and this is when I think about my niece and nephew so much. And it's like, I want them to be so strong that when it gets to a point, they could like, I'm walking away. And it could be that situation. And it's just like, you know, and it's
there's a fine line between, again, discipline and abuse.
Yeah.
Because the characters in the movie were being abused.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah. And that's what I got. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I was just asking.
It was a good film. I thought it was good, a great depiction. I did watch it. I don't necessarily see, I feel like if anybody has an issue with it, it's something wrong with them. Because
have an issue with it.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, it's just like, it's not right. But it's just like, have you, or maybe, no, I don't want to say that. Because I was saying, or maybe that wasn't your experience. But I feel like that wasn't your experience. You could at least appreciate somebody else's point of view.
Or just observe it,
acknowledge it.
And like, oh, okay, this may happen to other people. I'm thankful it didn't happen to me, but this has been someone's experience before. Yeah. And that's the point of sharing stories anyway. It's not always going to be about you. Jesus. Anything else?
I'm just writing down these notes to talk to you about after. And then,
anything else regarding chapter 14?
Yes. Here we go. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was this particular statement that I think resonated with me. George said masculinity felt necessary. And I put ... I put some ellipses in there because it was some more stuff. But George said masculinity felt necessary. I wanted to be in love with myself. I was like, because, and I didn't really have a question, but I guess I kind of have a question now. I don't know if I want to ask the question because I'm like, I don't know if I want to answer it.
You don't have to. I can answer it if you know what I used to. But you do not have to answer.
When did you fall in love with yourself?
It's been a process. It's always a cycle of falling in love. Where I had to really start falling in love with myself was 2017. And it was extremely hard. Last year, I really embraced all parts of myself. And I feel the most in love with myself at this point. Because up to last year, or like in last year, I always kind of felt like I needed someone else to tell me or validate me or love me in certain ways. Or I'd be like, oh, I have so much love to give to someone else. I always want to give myself to other people, or I'm like, or even on the other side of it, where I didn't feel like I could always be myself with other people. And it's just like, oh, why don't you just do it? And so I started to do it, and it was like, some people aren't gonna like it. And that used to bother me, because I used to have a fear of being perceived. And it's like, well, if people don't like me, then, you know, what worth do I have? And it's like, does it matter? Because at the end of every day, you're going to be with you. And if I don't like myself, what good is that going to do for me in my future and my present? So I began, and again, it's been a cycle of it, but I definitely revved it up last year. I was doing a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, a lot of listening to music, a lot of talking, a lot of crying, a lot of laughing. It's ups and downs. And to really look at every part of yourself and say, I love that. To look at your past and be like, I'm not ashamed of you. You didn't know. I can't be, even like we talked about earlier, me, you know, really having challenges, struggling with academia. I'm not mad at myself during those times. I felt bad at times before, because I was like, I didn't make it. I feel so ashamed. And it was like, how could you, if you knew better, you would have did it. If you had the tools, if you had the resources to really understand what was going on, you would be fine. But you didn't, because you had to go through an understanding. You had to get some comprehension. And so I'm like, okay. And I'm always learning. I'm always either listening to myself, listening to other people who are also in positions of loving themselves. It's like, yeah, it's not going to look the same for everybody either. It's really not. You might love yourself where you say, man, all I eat is 3 tubs of mayonnaise. And I'm like, that's different. But I don't know, that may work for you. But as for me, I have my own ways. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I will always say I'm learning. I'm always learning. And I've never felt more comfortable in my own skin. And is it sometimes like nerve-wracking? Sure, but this is so much less stressful than me trying to conform myself to look away to someone else. Sometimes when I would be out on walks, I'm just like, I gotta look a certain way so people don't. Like here lately, I just be out and I'm just singing out loud, and I've seen other people do that, like in the street, and I'm like, oh, look at them. And it's like me projecting, because I'm like, I don't have that freedom. I can't just, or I be in the store on the phone, I'm like whispering, like, because I want them to hear me. I'm over here chagging, and it's like, I went to Target when I do go out. I'm going, and I'm just out loud talking. I'm like, what you gonna do? I mean, yes, there is a bit of danger there.
I was gonna say, it just depends on the sensitivity of the conversation. But most of the time, I be on the phone talking about stuff like, yeah, I'm here now, child. I'm getting this.
But it's just like, these are small moments, big moments of just being.
Yeah.
Everybody not gonna come, and that's okay, because you'll find those people, thank you, that are there to allow you to just be, because they are themselves around you as well. So that's my very long answer to that. Very long question.
You know, I guess what you said, you know, I guess will help me answer. No, it's definitely a process, continuous process.
I'm gonna be loving myself for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like loving
the changes.
Yeah, I think definitely what helped me was definitely my dental journey.
Yeah, and those are things that are important. I know a girl that had, I forget what the medical condition is, where like one of your eyes isn't aligned. She had it corrected. And that was a part of her process of loving herself. She said, I love this. When people, like you said, get braces or, you know, get their acne cleared up.
The compliments, I'd be like, say it again. I mean, because it was a point, I was just like, I mean, you look at photos I have, even now, I'm still used to like, smelling.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
you do.
I'm getting better at it. Like even now, like even.
I mean, you weren't always like closed mouth, but in times you like.
It has to be. You caught me in a moment, and I am
beaming already.
Yeah, it's like I can't help it. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I can smile. Like I'm on FaceTime with people or people I haven't talked to in a while, friends or whatever, and they're like, oh my god, your smell looks great. I'm like, it do look great. Or just in the mirror, brush my teeth, like, you look good.
See, just complimenting yourself. Yes.
Yeah, and our good friend Miss Spivey mentioned that we cannot stop talking about this lady Beyonce. But that Church Girl song, it is. It was like an awakening. It's like, girl, Beyonce, you see me, you understand me, you get it. So
because she's a human, and this is not just like this is just our experience is gaming. This is just a human experience to get to know and love yourself. Yeah. Everyone has the choice and option to experience.
And the funny thing is, I'll say this, and I'm learning to just, I guess, acknowledge it and know it and appreciate it more. When I was focusing on all the other things that I didn't like, I wasn't appreciating the other things that were great about me, I'll say. Like, I didn't really, I wouldn't say I have like the best skin, flawless skin, but people would be like, oh, you have good skin. And I'm like, what? My teeth. I'm not focusing on my skin.
Ooh, didn't we just talk about this? I gotta see. The thing you're trying to hide is usually what you give off the most. But along those lines of the things you're most insecure about.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I would like try not to and that's the thing. It was like other things that I was good at or whatever, or like just my demeanor and all that. But I'm like, I felt like I had to be a character outgoing because I don't like to focus on my teeth, and I want to do everything else and try to cover it up and talk in a certain way because I have to,
And again, whatever. We go through things differently because I would just reserve myself and cocoon. You're just like, let me just direct you.
Yeah, to other things. But yeah, it's a process. I think that's the best answer for me. Even some mornings I wake up and like, Lord, I'm still here to make somebody happy. Make another day, make myself happy and be happy and
spread that joy. I like the saying where it's like in the conversation of like finding someone to be in a relationship with or be connected to, it's like I'm not choosing you to complete me. I'm saying, oh, you are loving yourself and I'm loving myself, and we want to love on each other, loving ourselves together. Whereas it's like, oh no, you are the source of my you can be a source of joy, but I am my source of joy. And we can create happiness together, but I am my source of joy, if that makes sense. And speaking of Beyonce, I want to bring up along with Church Girl, I think of It's Pure, because she says, bad bitches to the left, money bitches to the right, you can be both, meet in the middle, dance all night. And a friend of mine has been talking about writing a song where he remixes it and says, mass niggas to the left, them niggas to the right, you can be both, meet in the middle, dance all night. Daytron Music, check it out. And it's like, yeah, that's also a part of me embracing my identity as a gay man, because with being gay, it's very visible for us usually to balance out both masculine and feminine energy. That's what the Rainbow Crew is about a lot of times, where it's like, oh, it's not a binary. It's like, right, because all boys aren't blue, we're on a spectrum. It's a whole spatial chasm of different forms of who you are, and it's not just, oh, black and white, red, blue, pink, and baby, all that.
Because I met child, and that's another thing. Like, even when you're talking about, again, loving all parts of yourself, because sometimes this is like some people's idea, and it's funny because like some people, and this is a whole nother conversation, some people's idea of like what gay is, like I think sometimes I got so upset about the caricatures in shows, because it's like I gotta have my hair and nails and makeup, or like even a very crisp fade, gotta have my eyelashes done, gotta do this, and talk a certain way, and it's very honey, that's
but
why I'm
there are
like,
more
those
expressions of gayness than
right.
just
So it's
the
like for the
stereotype.
people that are writing about it, it's like you gotta look like this because
Mhm.
you can't look like me.
Yeah.
Because if you look like me,
I won't be able to tell.
if you look like me, and depending on, you know, I got music in my ear. Funny thing, again, right? Like if I'm on a New York train or whatever, New York Metro, whatever you want to call it, you look like me, got some headphones in my ear, I'm just jamming, sit a beautiful, unsuspecting woman beside me and some children that may look like be the product of us and back a camera up. Oh, that's a cute little family.
I mean, I've gone out with family members because people, of course, out in public don't know. And it's like, oh, you're a nice couple with your kids. Sometimes it doesn't, because it's not important. I don't feel the need to correct. I'm actually a gay.
Right. But that's the thing. It's just like this can't be gay.
Because people, again, the base of it is fear. So even with the asking, oh, are you gay? It's like because it's unknown to me. And a lot of people's unknowingness is based in fear because I need to know everything that's going on because that's the power dynamic that we've set in the society. Because what we don't understand, what do? We squash it. We put it away. So we're unlearning that. It's a process because we're so used to it for millennia now of doing that over and over and over again. And people are tired of being squashed. Mm-hmm. So many different groups of people, whether it's adoptees, people in the foster care system, disabled people, minorities, people with black and brown people, people in the rainbow crew. People are tired of being squashed. And it's like, we exist with you. You have to understand we are here. You may not even know that we are here with you. Because you don't know what a disability looks like. You don't know what a gay looks like. You have to get to know us. Or you just have to just respect people and mind your business.
Right. And that's the thing. So depending on what I'm here for, if I came here to work, what are we talking about? Like, it don't matter what's going on in my bedroom or yours. Is the order ready? Did you get my invoice?
Did the paperwork pass? Did the sale go through?
That's what we're here for. It has nothing to do. What are we talking about? Even if I am your friend, it's like, if we're not on our personal time, maybe talking over lunch. But outside of that, like while we're at work, that's not a conversation we need to have. We can talk about,
but even
we're
if
changing lineage or something.
That should not determine how you treat me. Because I'm free to bring it up, but you need not treat me any different than if you didn't know. That'd be the whole point. That's why we don't like to talk, because it's like people then retaliate, and it's like, what part of my identity made you so upset and so scared that you felt like you had to do all this and that to make me either suffer or get me terminated or what have you? But anyways, is that anything else for you?
That's all I got.
Well, that was Chapter 14 of All Boys Are Blue.
Caught in a Haze.
In a Haze by George M. Johnson. This is the Cube Boys. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on our podcast, Sweet Heat.
Yes.
All the socials, the Cube Boys.
Hopefully you are listening.
B-O-I-S.
Look, I done messed up because I was like,
you always say that. No, you don't. Yeah. I was trying to do it like you do it, but D-U
see you.
Oh yeah, there we go. See, yeah. But I am Jeremy.
I'm Akeem.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of the things, please.
And make sure you listen to our podcast, Sweet Heat, where we talk about some other things that we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And y'all get to know us more. It's not book talk. It's just us talk. It's just talking about things that happen in life. And little spicy things up in life. And thank you so much for watching our video. I always want to say from time to time we appreciate all those that come to experience we appreciate those that keep coming back and sharing the video and sharing the information. So
Thank you.
yes.
Until next time.